Hey guys, it's your best fight friend, Rachel here. Kelsey couldn't make it tonight. I just saw Claressa Shields become undisputed champ for the second time in her professional boxing career with a dominant win over Marie-Eve Dicaire. History making, right? To see Claressa come in and do this. I know she really wanted a knockout. I would have liked to see her get the knockout too, but she got across all judges' scorecards, won every single round. One of the most interesting things I think about tonight is that I know that Claressa has been training in MMA for a while. And not only has she just been training, she's made great strides. Like, even to a newbie like me, it has visibly improved so much. So I was really curious what she would look like tonight in the boxing ring. And I have to say that she looked fantastic in that she looked like herself. She looked like a boxer. I didn't see any oddness with her stance, the way she was throwing punches. She looked like the dominant boxer that she is. And so she recently boldly gave Conor McGregor some advice on his next fight in the cage. At the time, I wondered, well, is it possible to pursue boxing and MMA at the same time? And I've had doubts about it, but seeing Claressa, and she's talked about, and I'll link the interview that Kelsey had with her, she's talked about how she has been working on being able to do that simultaneously. It would be absolutely amazing to see Claressa, who's done so much in boxing, 2 gold medals, undisputed champ twice. I mean, she has all these belts, just everything that she's done, continue to do more in boxing, and then come over to MMA and become a world champ, in that arena as well. It would be amazing and completely unique. Like, she would be so I'm so excited to see her. And so this fight, I think she's gonna take a little break, and then June is her planned debut date for the PFL in MMA. So I'm totally excited about that. They did ask her about her future in boxing, and I thought it was kind of absurd to ask Claressa Shields, hey, would you be willing to drop down to 147 to fight Katie Taylor? But I will say that this is kind of sometimes what ends up happening in women's boxing, because the talent pool is pretty shallow still. Not as shallow as it once was, but still pretty shallow. It's hard to find women of similar caliber to fight one another. And so we all know how great Katie Taylor is. So you're like, oh, if she could possibly fight Claressa, but it required her to come up, Claressa to come down. And Claressa basically said, she would need $1 million to fight Kaylee, to even think about it, because that would be such a huge weight drop for her. I would be concerned because she is training for MMA. That's a lot to take on, a crazy weight drop like that for that. So I'm gonna just push that out and say, I don't know about that. But I am excited to see Claressa move on in her career, I guess in boxing and MMA. I am also curious about what she can do in MMA. So we talked about the talent pool in women's boxing. Well, in women's MMA, it's deeper. And so I'm curious to see Claressa and how she might thrive in that kind of competition. Because right now in boxing, I think that Claressa, when I see her as a boxer, she still comes in where she can improve in some areas. And I see the same thing with Katie Taylor, which is basically, I just want to see some tightening up and cleaner punches. But I think in women's boxing, maybe there's not, the competition isn't always pushing you to do that. Kelsey earlier brought up to me, Claressa's only had 10 professional fights. She's accomplished so much across her career, from the amateurs to now, but only 10 professional fights. And so if you looked at that over in men's boxing, that's you look at Canelo 10 fights in, that's a completely different kind of fighter than he is today. And so I totally understand that, but I don't know if there's enough to do in women's boxing so that Claressa can just be the absolute best she can be. She's accomplished a ton, but absolute, just like apart from that. But I think over in MMA, I am really excited because the talent pool is deeper, and hey, maybe the talent pool will grow over here and it'll just like keep getting better. So I am so excited to see Claressa continue in her career, continue being dominant, and I was so happy for her to do this tonight on pay-per-view in her hometown in Flint, Michigan. I think it was just I'm just really happy for her. I'm happy when people get to see people succeed like that, and see people not just succeed, but you know, like good things while they're at home, and it's like family and friends. Like it's just a really neat thing. So I'm really happy to see that. Can't wait to see what she does from here on out. She's totally excited about like her future in MMA. I can hear it in her voice when she talks about Jackson Wink and John Jones and Holly Holm. So I'm just excited for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys, hey, maybe tomorrow, right? Definitely big things going on tomorrow in the combat sports world too.